This is a story of tragedy and eventual glory. Like most stories, there is a moral to this one that we can all learn from, but more on that a bit later. This is a tale of how one man's dream, coupled with perseverance and a little bit of luck, turned a simple young man from an orphanage to the world's most successful pizza tycoon. In this video, we will take a journey through the fascinating history of Domino's Pizza and explore how it transformed from one small shop with a few tables to one of the largest pizza chains in the world, with nearly 20,000 stores and valued at over $11 billion today. Tom Monaghan and his brother Jim's early life was far from glamorous, but it definitely makes for an interesting and inspirational story. Tom was born in Michigan on March the 25th, 1937, to Francis and Anna Monaghan. His dad, Francis, was a truck driver, and his mum, Anna, was a homemaker. They were hard-working folks who didn't have a lot of money, but they had big dreams for their sons. The family lived in a small farmhouse that Tom's dad had built. And when I say small, I mean small. It was basically a one-bedroom house. They didn't have running water, so they had to go down to the nearby stream. And let's just say that bathing was not exactly a luxurious experience. Unfortunately, on Christmas Eve 1941, Tom's father died, and it was a devastating loss for the family, and his mum was left to raise two young boys on her own. Anna Monaghan, who was earning only around $100 a month at the time, had trouble keeping up with taking care of Tom and his brother. So she made the difficult decision to put Tom and his younger brother Jim into an orphanage. She hoped to take them back once she had got a good job and could provide for them properly. At 6 years old, Tom was sent to St. Joseph's Home for Boys. The home was run by nuns, where one of the nuns was said by Tom to be a bit like a drill instructor, and in his own words, not very nice. Tom and his brother were forced to stay at the orphanage for 6 long years. Despite the challenges that he faced in his early life, Tom was determined to make something of himself. Tom was later quoted as saying, "I believe everyone on earth has a certain goal and dream in life. I also believe that anyone can achieve this if they set their mind to it." And here's a message from me, the founder of the Visionary Minds channel. My name's Glitch. Thank you so much for watching to this point. I really do appreciate the support more than you know, guys, and I hope you can join me on this journey. And if you are enjoying the story so far, please do consider subscribing and liking the video. Thank you so much. And now, back to the story. Soon Tom's mother completed nursing school and brought Tom and his brother to live with her. But things didn't go smoothly between them, and Tom found himself constantly arguing with his mum. She was a manic depressive and probably had undiagnosed bipolar disorder. Things got so bad that he and his brother were sent to a foster home once again. Once more, they were by themselves. The next phase of Tom's life, though, would turn out to be an adventure full of exciting surprises with several unfortunate happenings sprinkled in. So stay tuned, grab a slice of pizza, and stick around as we unravel the next phase of Tom Monaghan's life. Tom Monaghan's childhood was full of imagination and creativity. He had a vivid inner life where he constructed detailed scenes of his future as a rich and successful man. Tom clearly believed in manifestation. He would spend hours designing imaginary homes, furnishing them with items he had seen in department store catalogs. This led to an obsession with architecture, particularly the work of Frank Lloyd Wright, and a determination to study it at the University of Michigan. However, college was expensive, and Monaghan struggled to find work in Ann Arbor, Detroit, or Chicago. One day, while walking past a post office, he noticed an armed forces recruiting station. He told the recruiter that he was interested in the army, and with his encouragement, he was enlisted. However, to his surprise, another enlistee informed him that he had actually joined the US Marines. Nevertheless, Monaghan soldiered on, and ultimately had a relatively uneventful tour with the Corps. After leaving the Marines, Monahan returned to Michigan, but he had no money or direction. He decided to enroll at the University of Michigan, where he could study architecture. However, the school was expensive, and Monahan had to work odd jobs such as delivering pizza to pay his tuition and make ends meet. Although Tom was known for his perseverance and clearly had a knack for business, it's possible he was a bit naive on occasions, because he was swindled more than once. The most notable of his misfortunes was when a supposed oil tycoon convinced Tom to part with his entire savings, several $1,000s in fact, for the promise of an oil well, and then he disappeared. Tom lost his life savings in one fell swoop, but lucky for him, fate wasn't done with him yet, and he wasn't one to just throw in the towel because of failure. Tom's guiding principles in life is that failure strengthens you because it teaches you to look for the seed of benefit that every adversity contains. What came next for Tom sent him on the path to becoming the successful entrepreneur behind the world's famous Domino's. Stay tuned as we explore further. His brother Jim informed him of a business opportunity that he had learned about while delivering mail. A man in the town wanted to sell his pizzeria for cheap. Monahan had nothing to lose and was eager to take on this opportunity. So together with his brother, Tom borrowed $900 and bought Dominicks Pizza from Dominic Devati, who owned the pizzeria for a number of years prior. Want to know what happened to Dominic Devati? Is he still around? Did he regret selling his pizza store? Stay to the end to find out. Initially, the brothers had planned to split shifts at the pizza shop, but after only 8 months of taking over a struggling pizza joint, Tim Monahan was ready to throw in the towel. He didn't leave empty-handed though. Oh no, he cashed out big, taking 50% of the company at the time in exchange for a humble '59 Volkswagen Beetle the brothers had been using as their delivery car. What eventually became of James Monahan? Did he do okay in life? Did he regret selling his share in Domino's? And did he and his brother continue to keep in touch? Well, stay to the end to find out. After Jim left, Tom Monaghan threw himself into the business, working 100-hour weeks, often sleeping in the shop. He had no prior experience in the pizza business, but his obsessive nature proved to be an asset that outweighed his ignorance. Tom once said, "I believe in aiming high. If you do, you'll stretch yourself to do better than you would if your goal was something easily reached." As it tends to happen in stories like this, love eventually made its way into Tom's life. And the story of how the pizza magnate met the love of his life is an interesting one indeed. 14 months into the pizza business, Tom Monaghan made his first delivery from a new store he opened in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. Little did he know that his delivery would lead to love. When Tom arrived at Central Michigan University's dormitory, the woman at the reception desk, Marjorie Zabak, Marjorie, caught his eye. Tom knew there was something special about her, and by their second date, he surprised Marjorie with a heart-shaped pizza for Valentine's Day. It was a hit with her friends down in the dorm, and the couple's love story began. By their third date, Tom looked into Marjorie's big blue eyes and realized he was in love. The lovebirds got married in 1962, and Marjorie worked with Domino's for decades. Tom's perseverance covered for his ignorance of the pizza business, and he introduced some innovations to the business, some of which became and remain industry standard today. Hang in there, let's dive into the business side of Tom's brainchild, Domino's. It wasn't all about speed from the start for Domino's Pizza. Tom Monaghan was always looking for ways to improve his business and perfect his franchising system. But it wasn't until years of tweaking and streamlining that the famous promise, "Deliver your pizza within 30 minutes or it's free," was born. Tom Monaghan's obsession with perfecting his pizza business paid off in spades. Soon Tom was opening up other stores and creating a unique franchising system that required potential franchisees to successfully manage an existing Domino's for a year before opening their store. But Monaghan didn't stop there. He wanted to revolutionize the pizza industry with a better pizza box made of corrugated cardboard to retain heat, which ultimately became the industry standard. By 1985, Domino's was opening nearly 3 new stores a day, setting a record for any restaurant chain in history. Something that people don't know about Tom was that he was a bit hot-headed. Tom himself described in an interview how he once threatened pizza thieves with a meat tenderizer and fisticuffs. "I didn't take abuse from anyone. If someone refused to pay a driver for an order, I didn't call the police. I just went and demanded the money. From time to time, we'd have a rash of pizza thefts from parked vehicles while drivers were busy with customers. I'd hide in the back of the car, and next time we went to that neighbourhood, I'd wait for them to try it again. I'd carry a meat tenderizer, a mallet, and a pop bottle as a persuader, and that approach always solved the problem." It was an interesting way of handling threats to his business, but Monahan's hard work and sacrifices finally paid off, and he became very rich. A truly endearing thing about the pizza juggernaut was that in spite of newfound success, he never forgot his humble beginnings. Monahan and his wife lived in a tiny mobile home they called the Shack when they first got married, and gradually worked their way up to a bigger mobile home before finally moving into a house. Tom wore old, battered clothes and even drove home in a delivery cars. The man embodied the popular mantra, "Live below your means." Now, with business raking in so much, Tom felt it was time to fulfill many of his boyhood dreams, and so he went on a spending spree. First, he bought the Detroit Tigers baseball franchise in 1983 from John E. Fetzer for $53 million. However, he later sold the franchise in 1992, but not before the team had won the World Series in the first year of his ownership. The spending spree did not end with the Detroit Tigers, though. Tom Monaghan made other interesting jaw-dropping expenses. Hang in there, let's dive deeper. As we've already seen, Tom Monaghan had a thing for architecture, so it shouldn't be a surprise that Tom chose to spend a vast amount of his fortune amassing one of the world's largest collections of furniture, valued at over $30 million. Beyond architecture and sports, Tom also showed an affinity for automobiles. In fact, at one point in his career, he owned over 250 antique automobiles, including a 1932 Bugatti Royale for $8 million, the most ever paid for a car at the time, and around $22 million in today's money. Tom didn't stop at antique cars, though. He bought himself an island, the Drummond Island, and he owned a fleet of 5 boats, including a 68-foot yacht named the Dominator, and 3 planes. Beyond the toys, Tom also bought and invested more of his fortune in company. But in 1998, Tom sold his 93% stake in Domino's Pizza to the Bain Capital for an estimated $1 billion. Bain also owned investments in many other well-known brands, such as Burger King, Warner Music Group, and Dunkin' brands. Tom ended up giving a lot of his money away in philanthropic pursuits over the years. As of January 9, 2023, Tom's net worth is around $500 million. The moral of this story, according to Tom, is everyone on earth has a certain goal and dream in life, and this can be achieved if they set their minds to it. So what happened to Dominic Devati, who owned the pizza store before Tom and James? Dominicks Pizza is still around, in fact, today. And he even has a website at originaldominicks.com. But they only have 2 locations, not quite the 20,000 stores across 83 countries, nearly $4.5 billion in pizza sales that Domino's has. So, do you think Dominic regrets selling his store to Tom? Wondering what happened to James Monahan? Well, all we know is that Jim went back to continue his career with the Postal Service. He apparently spent the rest of his life as a normal working class man, a stark contrast to the life and wealth his brother built running Domino's Pizza. So, do you think he regrets selling his 50% in the business? Thanks so much for watching this far. I hope you really enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider subscribing and maybe liking this episode, and that will help me to create more videos. Thanks so much. Bye.